How's it going, guys? Bear with me just for a little bit. I am actually working on a new camera setup, trying to get just a little bit better background, a little bit better image, as well as audio in some of my videos. Let me know if this is a little bit better than what you've seen in the past down in the comments below. Guys, what I wanted to talk about in this video is something that is becoming a growing issue across the country, and that is the criminalization of self-defense. There are a few examples in the news that I would like for us to look at. In fact, I recently wrote an article for my website where I actually highlighted some of these issues, some of these cases that we need to be watching. And just to show you guys, you can see here on my website at boomsticktactical.com a few of the cases that we see. And of course, I've got it highlighted here as far as where you can go and you can get some of the source material links and stuff like that. Now, one of the most recent cases is the McCloskeys out in Missouri. We all remember the McCloskeys. And of course, I mean, you know, they were the couple out there that was seen trying to defend their own home when the mob broke through into a gated neighborhood. Of course, they have now pled guilty. And of course, what they pled to was a misdemeanor. However, they did lose the weapons that they used, and those weapons will be destroyed. They also have to pay fines and things like that. Now, we need to remember that these people were on their own property, and they were literally at the porch on their own home when this incident started. And this is just one of a few cases that we have and that I write about in the article on my website. I think that this is something that we need to be very cautious about. I think that it is a very dangerous thing, especially now. You know, and we have been making some headway as far as gun rights. I know that if any of you guys have been following along to what has happened in Texas recently, Texas passed a series of laws, and they were signed by Governor Greg Abbott, to where Texas has basically become the most Second Amendment friendly state in the Union. There were a lot of things that Texas has done, including passing constitutional carry. They also passed a resolution saying that suppressors and other items like that manufactured in Texas that remain in Texas are not subject to federal law. It's going to be interesting how that plays out in the courts. And you know, it's a win situation. It's a win-win situation for gun owners of Texas, and I hope that we can get that type of thing pushed out to the rest of the country. However, at the same time, we need to be cautious of what is happening in some of these areas. There's another case that I write about in this as well, and it's an individual that in his own home, and this is up in I believe in Michigan, where there were some rioters that were literally outside his own home. He had had some conflicts with these folks before, and they returned to his home after having a law enforcement visit previously. He was again in his home, inside his home, and with a shotgun when the rioters that were outside of his home called the police. They came in, and instead of removing the rioters from outside the man's home, they arrested the homeowner. And that's something that I write about as well in the article. And I think that that is a travesty of justice. In fact, I'll just show you where you can, you know, where some of this information, again, you know, right down here. You know, Milwaukee man arrested for being armed inside his own home as it was surrounded by rioters. And of course, you know, what is getting dangerous on a lot of these cases is the fact that we are seeing more of this happen, and it's becoming too common. Instead of law enforcement going in and actually dealing with the mob and protecting the rights of the homeowner, what we see in this case is, in order to appease the mob, the police go in and arrest the homeowner for literally being in his own home and being armed. I don't know about you guys, but if a mob was outside of my home, I would want to have some type of a firearm to protect myself as well, particularly in this city to where there had been a lot of riots, a lot of property damage, arson, and that sort of thing. And that's what we need to remember, guys, that some of the stuff that had been going on in this area when this incident happened. And of course, this was back during the summer of last year. And of course, we also remember a couple back in the Orion Township, a couple there, the Chipotle couple. And I'm sure that most of you guys have seen the video of that. But what happened there, this couple that were eating at a Chipotle restaurant, and when they tried to leave, what had happened with them was the lady accidentally bumped a girl that she was coming in. She was coming in carrying, some bags, or trying to leave the restaurant carrying, the leftovers, a few bags and things like that, and accidentally bumped into this teenager. Of course, the family just went berserk. They they started just harassing them, calling them all kinds of names. The couple was very apologetic and tried to do everything that they could do, basically, to just get out of that situation.
All right, Ben. Now to that confrontation in Oakland County that went viral last week.
Since then, that woman, Jillian Woostenberg, and her husband, Eric, have been charged with felonious assault, a charge they are fighting. Our Mara McDonald is live in Orion Township. And Mara, this all started when that couple was coming out of a Chipotle.
Karen, would you believe this whole thing started because the Chipotle only had one of its doors open? Jillian Woostenberg is walking out with 2 big bags of food for her 4 children, her husband, and herself. A 15-year-old is trying to walk in at the same time. Woostenberg thought she bumped the door, not a teenager.
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that supposed bump when she's trying to exit Chipotle through one door with 2 huge bags. It turns into this.
Eric Woostenberg thought his wife was just talking to some women in the parking lot until the yelling started.
I was at the sliding door of the van, and she came out and proceeded to yell at me. From the moment she started speaking, it was very aggressive. It was loud. It was directed at me as in I had inflicted something on her.
Part of Jillian Woostenberg's encounter with Tequila Hill and her 15-year-old daughter was recorded by the teen, but before Woostenberg pulled out her firearm, several things happened.
You're very racist and ignorant.
The Woostenbergs had Hill and her daughter hurling accusations they were racist, and then...
Yeah, I said it. You say something, I'll beat your white.
When they tried to leave, at least one person was behind the van pounding on it.
The van literally stopped. It locked up the brakes instantly.
Because of a safety feature, they couldn't go back and they couldn't go forward.
I got out of the car and I looked at the car to see if there was any damage. And almost instantaneously, the mother was within 2 feet of me. And the daughter was rapidly running up as well. And I thought I was going to die.
Woostenberg's attorney says to him it's clear this had nothing to do with bumping anybody.
Why are they coming out with cell phones? If you truly wanted an apology and you're a responsible 15-year-old child, you would say, ma'am, did you know you bumped me?
Both Eric and Jillian Woostenberg have been charged with 1 count of felonious assault.
And as long as the prosecutor's bringing charges, where are the charges for ethnic intimidation?
It was, they argue, Tequila Hill who was using threats based on race.
Right now, the only narrative is that racist white people pulled a gun out on an African-American family, and that's not what happened.
Back here live, immediately following what went on down here, Eric Woostenberg lost his job at Oakland University. And today, immediately following our interview with both of them, Jillian Woostenberg got a text from her office telling her she was fired. We're live in Orion Township tonight. The case goes to court July 20th. Karen, Jace, back to you.
All right, and of course, we'll be following this one very closely. Thank you, Mara.
And unfortunately, that this was a situation that was just a no good situation for anyone, and the couple ended up getting charged. They both ended up losing their jobs, and it is just a real travesty of justice. We can see from the videos, if you've watched any of the videos, and again guys, if you check out the article, I've got links to all those things in the article, and in the video, as the couple was trying to leave, The woman, the mother, literally went around behind the lady and tried to block the couple in. And she was banging on her vehicle and, trying to prevent them to leave, from leaving. And I don't understand why this couple, why these people were treated the way that they were. And at the same time, I do not understand why there was a situation like this when the people that were trying to restrain someone, literally unlawfully imprisoning them, or trying to, was not charged with anything. I think that is just an absolute travesty of justice, but that is something that we're seeing playing out time and time again. And it falls under the banner of criminalizing self-defense. This is just a devastating time for our country. I think that is something that we really need to focus in on. We really need to get engaged with our politicians. We need to get engaged writing letters. We need to let them know that this is something that we do not want, that we want people to be able to protect themselves in situations like this. No one should have to be put in a situation to where they decide whether or not they're going to go to jail, or whether or not they're going to protect themselves and let the mob just do whatever they want to them. Because that seems to be the only way that out of a situation like this, and some of these situations we've seen, what is someone supposed to do? If they can't protect themselves without being arrested themselves, what option does that individual have? That's what we're seeing. That's a choice that should never have to be made. That's something that people should have the freedom to do. And it's literally within our founding documents that people have a right to defend themselves. Security in their own home, and security in their persons and things like that. And it is going to take us, it's going to take all of us getting involved with our politicians, with leaders in law enforcement and things like that. And that's where it is going to begin at. I think that the folks in law enforcement down at the street cop level, if you're going out there and you are not stopping the mob from destroying someone's home or from being violent to people, you don't need to be arresting those that are simply trying to protect themselves. That is an absolute disgrace. It is a travesty of law enforcement. It's absolutely horrible that those things would happen. At the same time, when we do see law enforcement step up and arrest some of these rioters, and these are the guys that we need to back, a lot of these leftist prosecutors in some of these cities are simply turning them loose. Recently in New York, there were over 100 of the people up there, some of the rioters up there in New York, that they had their cases dismissed. We've seen the same thing in Portland. We've seen the same thing in Chicago and many of these other cities where these leftist prosecutors dominate. And they're basically criminalizing people for defending themselves, but at the same time, those that they support politically, they're just cutting them loose. And that is a travesty of justice. That is undermining everything about our country, our founding principles of our country. And things like this are only going to continue to grow if we don't stop it. If we don't step up, if we don't get involved in these situations, things like this are going to continue to grow. The only thing for evil to succeed is for when good people do nothing. So guys, it's up to us. Go over, check out my website. Be sure to share this video, guys. Let's get some of this information out there. Look at some of these articles, look at some of these source articles that I've got out there, and try to spread this out on your social media, get your friends involved, things like that, because it's going to be up to us to be able to make any kind of changes to secure our rights to self-defense. Okay, that's all there is about it. Guys, thanks for watching. Check out the rest of the videos on the channel. Let me hear from you guys. What are your thoughts about this issue? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Visit my website at boomsticktactical.com. Check out the links down in the description, and we'll see you next time.